So the first program that I'm going to talk about is what's called price loss coverage, or PLC. I'm sure most of you by now have heard about this. The other thing that I do want to end up kind of caveating these programs with, if you don't understand it right off the bat, don't worry too much. This is one of those times where it's time to collect information, see what's going to end up being applicable for your farm, and then making the necessary arrangements to meet with your FSA agent, meet with your crop insurance agent, make the best informed decision. There is no rush to sign up for these programs at this time period. What looks best right now might not be what's best when we end up entering the sign-up period, whether it's in December, November of this year or into early next year. There's not a rush on it, but it is really important to start gathering this information so you can make an informed decision. Price loss coverage is delivered by FSA. It's decoupled from planted acres, as Jason mentioned. Only base acres for a farm are eligible for payments. That includes cotton base, or generic base I should say, which is calculated based on the proportional planting of the other covered commodities. One thing that you should know is you could end up receiving a payment for a commodity that you don't end up planting. If you end up planting 100% soybeans and you still have corn base, you will still end up getting a corn-based payment if it's triggered.
What about cotton?
Cotton will end up getting a payment if, when you end up having your cotton base, if you haven't, if you reallocate at the beginning of the year, it'll go proportionally into other commodities that you've ended up having.
Not if you didn't grow.
If you didn't end up growing, that doesn't matter. You still have your generic base. That is still ended up calculated into your base calculations. It's paid on 85% of your base acres for each covered commodity, so you could choose to enroll soybeans in PLC, and you could choose to enroll corn in ARC individual. So it's a commodity by commodity basis for each individual farm. Payments are made when the effective price is less than the reference price for each covered commodity. The effective price is the higher of the marketing year average price or the national average loan rate for the covered commodity. You can see the reference prices for soybeans are $8.40, corn $3.70, wheat $5.50, and sorghum $3.95. I'll step through a quick calculation here in a minute on how this would end up potentially looking. This right here again, this is to me where prices have been and where prices are potentially going is going to be what drives which program you want to end up going into. So you see the reference prices. This is the soybean reference price, wheat reference price, and corn reference price. You see the marketing year average. This is the national marketing year average price as calculated by the USDA from 2009 until 2012 with a projected price for 2013 and 2014. You can see substantially higher prices for soybeans over the past 4 years than the two that are projected. Similarly with wheat, except for back in 2009, wheat and corn were both below the reference price. So the reference price is set and remains the same from 2014 to 2018, so those aren't going to change over the life of the Farm Bill. Election is made, again, on a covered-by-covered commodity basis. You can do that with ARC County as well. ARC Individual, that option is not available. If you choose ARC Individual, every covered commodity and all your generic base acres are enrolled in ARC Individual for that FSA. Payments will not be made until after the marketing year. So for corn and soybeans, you have marketing year from September 1st to August 31st. So for the 2014 crop year, you can expect to get payments sometime around that September 30th of 2015. This is not something that is unique to 2014. This will happen for every year. So 2016 payments won't be made until September 30th, 2017. And it's to do with how they end up calculating or using the marketing year average price. They have to have it for the full marketing year before they will end up issuing any payments. If you do enroll a commodity in PLC, you also have the option to purchase additional coverage, which is called the Supplemental Coverage option. I'm going to step through a couple of examples for that as well. And it's available only for commodities that are rolled in PLC, so you can't be in ARC individual or ARC county. And for cotton, your acres cannot be rolled in stacks. So just to get a little bit of the language out of the way, your payment rate is the difference between the reference price and the effective price. Your payment yield is the FSA yield for the farm. So either the updated payment yield that Jason was talking about or the 2008 counter-cyclical payment yield. Your payment acres are based on 85% of the sum of the base acres for a covered commodity plus your generic base acres, attributed to that covered commodity, as Jason indicated, when you end up having those planted acres, how you reallocate your base. Your payment amount is the product of your payment rate times payment yield times payment acres. So this is a quick example for soybeans. Have your formula up at the top, your payment rate in dollars per bushel times your payment yield in bushels per acre times 85% of your base acres gives you what your PLC payment is in dollars per base acre. So if you have a marketing year average price, for example, and it's $8.20, this reference price stays at $8.40 for the life of the farm bill. You would end up having a PLC payment rate of $8.40 minus $8.20 gives you 20 cents. Assuming your payment yield is 40 bushels, you would end up multiplying 20 cents by 40 bushels by 85%, and it would give you $6.80 per base acre. Similar for corn, calculated the exact same way. If you have a marketing year average price of $3.50, your reference price stays static at $3.70, you'd end up having a 20-cent payment rate. Update your yield, or your payment yield is 135 bushels per acre. Again, 85% is the same. You'd end up having a payment of $22.95 per acre.